The famous Time Life photographer Margaret Bourke-White first met Gandhi in May 1946. He was 77, tiny, shrunken and bald, and yet he had defied the greatest empire in the history of the world. She pleaded to be allowed lighting equipment, for the room was impossibly dark, but was only permitted 3 peanut flashbulbs. The first bulb failed with a delay. The second bulb wasted on a misfired shutter. Finally, the third went off perfectly. The image resulting from the stroke of luck is the same one endlessly reproduced, a secular saint, graced by light and accompanied by a symbolic spinning wheel.
Well, it was purely a publisher's instinct that got me into Gandhi. I first read 100 volumes of his collected works and then over 250 books, which took me almost 4 years. Once I started reading him, well, he got into me and continues to remain ever since. To bring them all together in the book was to bring alive really one of the most revered figure in the modern Indian history. Here are some of my favorite stories from the book.
Gandhi was the 4th son of his father's 4th wife. The Gandhis apparently got into trouble often. Political intrigue forced his grandfather out of the prime ministership of Porbandar and into exile. There he once saluted the ruling Nawab with his left hand. Asked for an explanation, he said, "The right hand is already pledged to Porbandar." Gandhi was proud of such loyalty. "My grandfather must have been a man of principle," he wrote. Gandhi returned to India in January 1915, after having spent nearly a quarter century outside his country. His mentor and friend, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, suggested that Gandhi spend a year travelling across the country, gaining experience. Gokhale advised him against making speeches or answering questions from the public. Gandhi promised to follow the advice, but was incapable of keeping quiet for long. He made close to 40 speeches that first year.
There is an indefinable, mysterious power that pervades everything. I feel it, though I do not see it.
There was a dramatic transformation in Gandhi over the years in terms of the clothes he wore, or didn't wear. While in South Africa, he was a lawyer impeccably dressed in the latest fashion. He landed in India wearing a Kathiawadi dress. Gandhi reasoned that people wore too much finery, and this would be a lesson to them. On the 22nd of September 1921, Gandhi shed stitched clothes and pledged to wear loincloth. This led Winston Churchill to contemptuously call Gandhi a half-naked fakir in 1931. Gandhi decided the protest would be characteristically symbolic. He proposed to overthrow an empire with a fistful of salt. What resulted is well known in Indian history, most poignantly narrated by Webb Miller's famous reportage for the United Press of America. In complete silence, the Gandhi supporters halted 100 yards from the stoppage. Suddenly, at the word of command, scores of policemen rushed upon the advancing marchers and rained blows on their heads with their steel-shod lathis. Not one of the members even raised an arm to ward off the blows. The survivors, without breaking ranks, silently dog-marched until struck down. In 18 years of reporting, in 22 countries, I have never witnessed such harrowing scenes. Gandhi's 74th birthday was spent as a prisoner in the Aga Khan Palace. It would be the last birthday he and his wife Kasturba Gandhi shared together. 2 months later, Kasturba suffered a series of heart attacks she would never recover from. She eventually died on the 22nd of February, 1944. She died on a full moon night. Gandhi, joined by others, stood vigil throughout the night. The 5 glass bangles she wore throughout her married life were entwined together with flowers. The authorities did not want a public funeral. Gandhi said, either the whole nation be allowed to participate in the funeral or no one, not even his sons. The authorities finally relented. More than 150 relatives and friends gathered. Devdas, his son, lit the funeral pyre. Gandhi kept vigil over her funeral pyre until the very last flames died. How can I leave her here during her last moment on earth, after we have lived for 62 years together? She would never forgive me if I did. The 15th of August, 1947 was a historic day for millions of Indians.
On August 15th, the appointed day, people gathered to welcome the dawn of a new age and witness the peaceful transfer of power.
At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
Yet, for the chief architect of the freedom movement, Mahatma Gandhi, the day's routine remained unchanged. He preferred to stay in Calcutta and work for peace amongst Hindus and Muslims. Gandhi saw the 15th of August, 1947, not as independence, but Partition Day. On the 30th of January, 1948, Gandhi left a discussion with Patel for a 5 p.m. prayer meeting, bidding his last goodbye to him. Since he was running late, Gandhi took a shortcut to the waiting crowd and his assassin. Standing front, wearing a military-style khaki dress, was Nathuram Godse, who greeted Gandhi with folded hands. Gandhi returned his greetings. That would be his last act on earth. In a swift movement, Godse fired 3 bullets into Gandhi. There was a shocked silence before the enormity of what had happened began to sink in. In the melee, no one had really noticed the man who had fired the fatal shots. The pocket watch Gandhi wore was shattered. It stood frozen at 5:17 p.m. Devdas removed Gandhi's clothes one by one during the last ritualistic bath by the family. Those present could see 3 clear bullet marks. The first one on the right side of his abdomen, 2.5 inches above the navel, and the second an inch to the right. While bathing the body, these 2 bullets were found lodged in Gandhi's shawl. The third and fatal bullet was embedded in his lungs. It would only be found 27 hours later, when the ashes were being gathered from the cold pyre.